Storm analyst John Neese.
Low price. Look for bonus buys and extra low sale prices throughout the store. You'll love it at Levitt's.
Does that dustpan line ever really go away? Why do your floors look clean, but your socks look dirty? The Swiffer Sweeper, with its dry cloth's unique 3D texture, traps and locks dirt, dust, and hair better than a broom. The sweeper is super light and maneuverable, so it can reach those hard-to-reach places. Why do kids and messes seem to be made for each other? Stop cleaning. Start Swiffering.
The Volvo S60. In a stop-and-go world, few cars stop and go quite like it.
Take it till the sun goes down.
Today, during Levitt's President's Day sale, look for bonus buys and sale prices throughout the store. And you'll get extra time to pay for it all until April 2004. It's the biggest event of the year. You'll love it at Levitt's.
We are having a changeover in this winter storm, snow to sleet and snow now to rain in some parts of the Delaware Valley. The latest on Sky Tracker is next.
That's right, Paul. It is the big one. A live look outside right here in Center City, Philadelphia. That bus looks like a disabled vehicle, but the only vehicle you'll see on the road in this part of town at this time of the morning.
And let's take a look down the shore. You can see the wind blowing that snow up in the street lamps there. We are live throughout the Delaware Valley and down the shore, and our Team 3 coverage of this severe winter storm continues.
That's right. We've got 20 degrees on Independence Mall right now, and our Team 3 coverage begins with Eyewitness News meteorologist Paul Deanna, who's in the CBS 3 Weather Center this morning. Paul, good morning.
Good morning
Good
to you.
morning.
It's been a busy weather center for about 26 hours now as a very persistent, a very strong storm moves through. Yesterday, we were talking about just snow. That's all we were talking about. Snow, snow, more snow. Most of you waking up to a foot at least of fresh new snow. We're going to go to a different camera than our camera right back there because the wind is blowing so much down the shore, it's affecting our signal. So let's go live to Philadelphia, talk about what's happening right in Center City. You'll notice there's a lot of snow blowing. That is blowing off the top of buildings because we have winds in excess of 20 or 30 miles an hour. What is falling from the sky right now is a mixture of light snow and sleet. You're going to see Natasha Brown coming up in a few minutes talking about a pain factor because that sleet, those little pellets of ice, hurt when you stand outside, especially with a 20 or 30 mile an hour wind. Let's go to Sky Tracker now. I'm going to show you some good news. We were talking about a persistent, heavier snow that would last into the afternoon. That forecast has changed. It is not going to last into the afternoon. You'll notice a lot of blue up toward Philadelphia. The darker shades of blue actually aren't heavier snow pockets. That is where the sleet is mixing in with our snow. And you'll also notice now, moving into portions of Newcastle County, Delaware, a lack of color. That darker shade of green is actually the base map, the bottom of our map. That's a lack of precipitation, a very large dry slot now moving into most of Delaware, which will make its way into South Jersey coming up over the next half hour or so. So here's what we're doing with our winter storm warnings and blizzard warnings. So the weather maps we go. South Jersey, deep South Jersey, that is Atlantic County, Cape May County, and Cumberland County, New Jersey, as well as central and southern Delaware, the National Weather Service has canceled your blizzard warning. Blizzard warning is over for you. Burlington, Camden, Gloucester, and Salem County, New Jersey, you are still under that blizzard warning. The Philadelphia area, all of southeastern Pennsylvania, as well as Newcastle County, Delaware, you are still under a winter storm warning. We really don't want to hear about your snow amounts right now because most of you are seeing sleet. Here's what we want to hear from you. Email us what it's doing outside right now. Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is it sleeting and snowing? How bad are the winds? We would like to know this so we can compile exactly what's going on throughout the Delaware Valley. Head to our website, www.kyw.com, or just email us at weather@kyw.com. We're seeing very significant snowfall totals. With more on the exact numbers, we turn now to meteorologist Tom Lemaine. Tom?
Paul, we think, and as a matter of fact, we want to continue to urge you to send us your conditions, you know, what the conditions are as opposed to snow amounts, because I think what has fallen is about what it's going to be. Now, the top one we have so far, as amounts go, is Wilmington, but not too far away from Wilmington is the #1 the #1 snow total location, Bear, Delaware. 22 inches of snow down there in Bear, Delaware, Newcastle County. The lowest amount we've seen so far is down around Audubon and Glendora in southern New Jersey, around Camden County it should be, and they have reported only 8 inches of snow. So from 22 to 8 inches of snow. Now, if we were to go on the air, Paul and I, Kathy, and Chris Dunn on, say, Friday, and say we're going to have anywhere from 22 to 8 inches of snow, you would have said, thank you very much. That's a pretty broad forecast, but actually that's what it turned out to be, anywhere from 22 to 8 inches of snow. And I believe 90%, if not even more, of the snow that has fallen is over for now. And reason why? Down here to the lower left of your screen, there is no precipitation falling as you come up from the Chesapeake toward the Delmarva Peninsula, and that means a dry slot is moving into our region, and we will have snow ending by 9 o'clock. Now, 21 degrees, and it's sleeting. It should be raining, right? It's snowing, right? Well, there's a little bit of warmer air just above the surface. The sleet is doing two things. It's increasing the visibility, and it's packing down the snow. A wetter precipitation is holding down the snow, so we won't have as much blowing and drifting. And where the blizzard warnings are in effect right now, I believe they're going to be lifted later on. We can't do that. The National Weather Service has to do that, but I would imagine those blizzard warnings will be out of here pretty soon. Down at the shore, 31 degrees. Your flooding is not going to be quite as bad as we anticipated. The storm is not as strong. However, expect 2.5 feet above normal, or maybe 8 feet above mean low water, maybe 6 to 8 feet above mean low water at best, at around 7:30 on the ocean front, and about 10:30 or 9:30 or 10 o'clock back here in the back bays. So there will be some roadways closed down there at the shore. Wind chills are below zero still in most places, and the low pressure is moving out. And I believe once we get rid of the snow at 9 o'clock, all we'll have is some leftover light snow, and that should taper off around 7 o'clock tonight. So 90% of the snow that's expected to fall has already fallen, and I think the worst is over, but it's still dangerous out there because of very cold temperatures and some very high winds. Let's see how the roadways have been impacted by the storm so far. Bob Kelly's got that info in the CBS3 Traffic Center.
Good morning, everyone. Well, with the snow emergencies blanketing our area, I really only suggest that you venture out in the extreme event of an emergency. Got a fire now in Conshohocken. Come on, let's go to the maps. I'm going to point it out for you. Sounds pretty serious. This along Elm Street, right near Poplar. Let me update some SEPTA notes for you right here. The regional rails, as we just heard from Richard Maloney, operating on a Sunday schedule, but you can expect major delays as they're having a little trouble getting out of the gate. He had mentioned 4-foot drifts over some of the tracks along the Route 100 line in Norristown. Also, the bus, trolley, subway surface line weekday schedule, and they're only going to be operating and running on streets or routes, where the road conditions are going to allow. Patco, limited schedule. NJT, all South Jersey buses. Zippo, forget about it. Amtrak, no service south of D.C. Let's go outside, give you an idea what it looks like out your front door. This is 95 at the Betsy Ross Bridge interchange. Again, 95, the Schuylkill, the Vine Expressway, all the roads pretty much still majorly snow covered. One other SEPTA note, Richard Maloney said the Broad Street subway and the Market Frankfurt line, both of those lines are the heart of the system, and they are running with no delays. Amy and Tom, back to you.
Okay, Bob, thank you. We have live Team 3 coverage of the severe winter storm this morning.
Our crews all over the map this morning. Dick Sheeran live in Atlantic City, standing out actually in some freezing rain. Dick, how you holding up?
We're doing okay. Of course, Milt Becker, my partner here, almost took a spill because it is a little slippery out here with the wind. Right now, we're getting a mixture of rain and freezing rain. And as Tom and Paul pointed out, what it's doing is it's packing down the snow. Now, this is really hard now, so it's not blowing and drifting, because that was a problem last night. For example, the wind would just blow down these streets and deposit all the snow on the boardwalk. And at one point, down near Lincoln Place, which is just below Albany Avenue here in Atlantic City, had a 4-foot high drift. So it just kind of blew the snow all in one spot. Right now, the boardwalk is still snow covered. The only thing moving down here are slot machine wheels. The casinos are still going full tilt. Nothing stops them. Bob Levy, who's the emergency coordinator here in Atlantic City, told us that 8 light standards and poles have been overturned down on the White Horse Pike, Route 30. So just avoid that completely. The Atlantic City Expressway is passable, and so are the major streets here in Atlantic City, but they're not recommended to be used. Now, the other problem that we're watching, a potential problem that is tides. The high tide here is due at 7:32, and I'll tell you, the ocean is starting to creep up a little bit. We don't expect any real big problems, but we're going to keep a wary eye on it. That's it live from here. We'll send it back to you.
All right, conditions looking really extreme down the shore. From there to Center City, Philadelphia, where some spots have nearly 2 feet on the ground right now.
Natasha Brown live along the Avenue of the Arts in Center City with more on the deteriorating conditions there. Good morning, Natasha.
Good morning. I know every time I talk to you both, it seems to be getting worse and worse out here. At least my back is now facing the freezing rain that was pelting my face a little while ago, but still very, very treacherous out here along Broad Street. You can see just a couple of drivers willing to brave this kind of weather to get around. A SEPTA bus there trying to make its way down Broad Street as well. Of course, officials are urging anyone who doesn't have to be on the roadways today in this kind of weather not to be. Just allow for these snow plows to get through. This is an emergency route here along Broad Street, so you see no cars parked here, and that's a good thing, because if they were, they'd be towed, because you do need to allow these snow plows and emergency crews to get through to plow these streets today. Of course, the street's not the only thing that folks are concerned about. Sidewalks as well. You see this gentleman here that we spoke with during the last half hour doing his part to try to make sure that pedestrians are safe. A funny thing that we just saw, actually, if you didn't want to drive, we actually saw somebody just skiing down the street here. We tried to catch up with him, but he was just a little too fast for me, so maybe that's the best way to get around out here. It seems to be that way this morning, at least. Reporting live in Center City, Natasha Brown, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Cross-country skis, snowshoes, all sounded like pretty good ideas this morning. You want to be careful on those sidewalks, though. They're awful slick in some parts of the city this morning.
And judging from Natasha's jacket, she's not getting quite the wet sleep that Dick was getting down at the shore, because you could tell his coat was actually getting soaked being out.
Some parts getting hit hard by that water. Paul Liano's here with more on what we're experiencing across the Delaware Valley this morning. Paul?
Tom and Amy love the CBS 3 viewer. Love you. 50 emails in just a couple minutes talking about what it's doing outside. Radar says blue. Radar says snow, but it's sensing the temperature at the ground. Go up 1,000 feet. Much, much warmer. So that stuff is falling in the form of wet and not having time to end as snow. So we're seeing sleet throughout much of the Delaware Valley. Look at that right there. You'll notice there's a big storm behind me. Malvern, Pennsylvania. Mark says it is sleeting very hard right now in Malvern, despite the fact temperatures are in the mid-teens. Nowhere close to freezing at the surface, but it is sleeting. In Douglasville, Pennsylvania, at 422 and 724, heavy sleet and heavy freezing rain. Now get this. 10 miles south of Pottstown in Ludwig's Corner, Linda emails us that for the past hour, it has been sleeting. It is 10 degrees outside, and it is sleeting. We're 22 degrees lower than freezing, and despite that, we are still seeing sleet. 22 inches of snow last night in Newark, Delaware. Now it is sleeting with freezing rain. Getting a little bit of everything in Newark, Delaware, and out in Westchester, sleeting and windy, and what snow has not been packed down by the sleet, it is now drifting and blowing all around. We are getting a veritable cornucopia of weather. We've got some sleet. We've got freezing rain. We have rain, and we still, to the way up in the north, up toward Allentown and the Poconos, we still have some snow. Whatever is going to be falling from the sky, the heaviest of it will be ending by about 9 o'clock. That secondary low way down south is simply not forming as strong as we thought it would be. So the heaviest stuff probably will be more sleet and freezing rain out of here by 9. From 9 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we're on the backside of the storm, so that warm air gets pushed back down to the south. So we will have off and on lighter snow until about 7 o'clock tonight, with melting beginning on Tuesday. If the sleet continues, snowfall totals, increasing those, are over. So we'll go for the lower of these two numbers. Close to Philadelphia, about 22 inches on average down the shore, about 1 1/3, 16 inches farther north and west, where you will continue to see snow because it's colder up there, about 18 inches for you. We're going to get to the 5-day forecast, let you know what's going on. 26 for an air temperature high, morning heavy snow and sleet, blowing snow all day long as the intensity tapers down throughout the day. Clearing overnight tonight, 16 to 20 degrees. And check out the 5-day forecast. Actually quite nice. More clearing tomorrow with a high of 36, up to the 40s for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and rain, not snow, rain in the forecast on Friday. A lot of melting, but a lot of stuff to get through this morning, guys. It'll be very icy outside.
Okay, Paul, thanks very much.
Thank you, Paul. Our coverage of this President's Day storm continues.
Coming up, we'll check back in with our reporters in the field and with meteorologists Tom LeMaine and Paul Deanna for the latest snow totals and a check of those roads when we come right back.
Count on CBS Monday to rock your world. First, the King of Queens has 2 tickets to paradise.
Sea air smells great, doesn't it, honey?
Somebody around here has potato chips.
Then, these baseball legends drop in on Yes Dear.
Can I bother you guys to sign my glove?
It's a gardening glove.
Next, Raymond's volunteering at a hospital.
You could use a mitt.
And Still Standing's got David Hasselhoff.
Good luck, buddy.
All new comedy, CBS Tonight. Plus, Dave meets Dr. Phil on an all-new Late Show.
Buick, the official car of the PGA Tour, launches the season with an extra $500 golf bonus cash. Now get an astounding $3,500 total cash back, or there's 0 APR for 5 years. Plus, you still get $500 golf bonus cash. After cash back, this award-winning Century is available for under $18,000. But you've got to hurry. Golf bonus ends February 28th. Get into your Buick dealer now.
That's me. And this is Kate. She's just like me. First bike ride. First prom. Then my little girl grew up. Around then, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Still, things were looking up. Until I turned 50. I felt 90.
For some, there's Remicade. Remicade relieves pain and helps stop further damage to your joints. Your doctor may add Remicade if you're on methotrexate already and not responding.
Designer blinds in every shape, style, and texture that will cut to your specifications while you shop. We'll even arrange installation. And no one ever beats Lowe's prices, because Lowe's has low prices every day, guaranteed. That's our promise. Lowe's, improving home improvement.
These are the times you rely most on the Weather Channel. Because you know that we will weather the storm, so you don't have to. This winter, watch the Weather Channel. Toyota is an official sponsor of winter storm coverage on the Weather Channel.
Prego Traditional versus the leading pasta sauce. In the rolling contest, both jars performed remarkably well. But the taste contest was no contest, as everyone in the family preferred Prego. Everyone goes for Prego.
Mr. Stevens? Yeah. Got you down for over 130 channels, $39.99 a month.
Right, so...
every channel's digital quality. There's access to 31 premium movie channels, 60 pay-per-view movie titles a month.
Great, so that can go on the back of the roof?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, good. So go ahead and pull around back.
You work for the cable company, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why settle for cable? Switch to DirecTV and get over 130 channels, only $39.99 a month. Call 1-800-DirecTV or visit a participating retailer now.
Thanks to available X-Ria Sport suspension, windy roads struggle to make its way. Because of its 245 horsepower V6 engine, tough terrain has difficulty slowing it down. And with so many safety and performance refinements, steep mountains often fail to hold it back. The all-new 4Runner. No other SUV has ever been on its terrain.
Storm Stories, tonight at 8 on the Weather Channel. And now, here's your local on the 8s.
New Yorkers are waking up to moderate to heavy snow and a half-mile visibility. A blizzard warning is in effect.
Good morning from Washington, where the Capitol is being pelted by big sleet pellets right now. This is Mike Seidel. We'll check your forecast and give you the lowdown and the bad news at the airport. It's all coming up on First Outlook.
Travel is greatly influenced by the storm throughout the Northeast, including airport closures, and it may impact your flight somewhere else in the country. I'll have travel details coming up.
In Philadelphia, snow and sleet are mixing to add hazardous conditions to the streets. The best advice is to stay home if you can. Welcome to First Outlook, and thanks for joining us where we are in an alert mode on this Monday morning, February 17th. I'm Nick Walker.
And I'm Kim Perez. Again, good morning, everyone. Mike Seidel is riding out the storm here in Washington, D.C. Mike, you said some big sleet's falling out there.
It is, Kim, right now. Let me give you just a few seconds of what it sounds like out here. These things are about the size of peas.
Wow.
Can you hear that?
Sure
wow,
can.
It's really noisy out here. It's all sleet now. In fact, it changed over here fairly early compared to Baltimore, and that's why they've had roughly about 8 to 10 more inches of snow than we had. Changed over to sleet here last night around 8 o'clock. We have had a lot of snowfall. In fact, enough for a record yesterday in Washington. Let's take a look back. The previous number was back in 95 and 96 in February of 1996, and that's when we had a lot of snowfall. Many cities setting their all-time seasonal records. 13.6 through midnight. We've had sleet since then, and if we get to 13.7, that ties for the 10th biggest storm on record here in Washington. The 17th today, the 18th tomorrow. Those numbers in no jeopardy, at least until next weekend. Until next week, winter. As far as the airports go, huge numbers of cancellations coming in from the Northeast. Here locally, BWI and National closed until at least noon today. So again, sit tight, check with your air carrier. Now let's check in with Dr. John Neese. And Dr. Neese, boy, this is one for the record books, but to get a storm like this, everything has to fall right into place.
That's right, Mike, and in this case, very cold air moved into New England and the Northeast over the weekend, and that Arctic high-pressure system set the stage with all that cold air and low levels of the atmosphere for moisture at mid and upper levels of the atmosphere to overrun it, and now we're seeing a developing low-pressure system off the coast, helping to funnel even more moisture into the storm, this time off the Atlantic Ocean. The numbers you see right there are current temperatures. Look at some of these numbers. Single digits and teens over most of Pennsylvania. The storm now sort of taking on a classic comma shape in the radar coverage as finally we're starting to see low pressure develop off the North Carolina coast. The baton of energy being passed from a weakening the original low pressure system over the Ohio Valley. High pressure to the north, funneling all kinds of moist air into the mid-Atlantic states. And look at some of these wind gusts that we're seeing. The nor'easter part of this storm is well underway. Northeast winds gusting past 30 miles per hour, even past 40 miles per hour at the coast, and even as far inland as Allentown. Winds gusting to 32 miles per hour. At mid and upper levels of the atmosphere on our water vapor imagery, we see the feed of moisture right out of the Caribbean. Originally, this was coming from the Pacific, but as the storm moved eastward, now we're tapping moisture from the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. And so we have mid and upper level moisture overrunning all that cold air. As far as snowfall amounts today, an additional 6 to 12 inches. State College, Harrisburg, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. Another 3 to 6 in Philly where we're mixing with sleet. Same thing in Washington, D.C., New York City, 6 to 12 inches today. Hartford, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, moderate to heavy snow at times today. Total snowfall accumulations look like this, on the order of 12 inches of snow from portions of northern Virginia through the Philadelphia area, likely maxing out north and west of the major cities where we will not see a mix over with sleet. From now on, when people ask about the President's Day snowstorm, the next question will have to be, which one? Nick?
No doubt about that. And of course, the snow bearing down on Boston now, John. What can we expect there?
Snow should pick up in Boston later this morning, become heavy by mid to late afternoon, expecting in excess of a foot of snow in Boston. It should snow heavily into much of the night, perhaps mixing there late tonight with a little freezing rain or sleet.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. John Neese, our storm analyst. Now, we want to get more on the Northeast. What's to come? Here's Kim.
All right, let's recap that forecast. Nick, calling for snow in D.C. throughout the day today. We should see a break in it later this morning and then get another round later on with the upper level system coming across. Philly, New York, it's going to be a snow day for you folks. Boston coming in again this morning, staying with us through tomorrow, getting worse before it gets better here for sure. Here's our scenario again, high pressure to the north, low to the south. By tonight, as you can see, that snow will be coming down pretty heavily around Boston, even around Hartford, and even into Providence, we think. And winter storm warnings are up for Boston through tomorrow because that storm will still be impacting us with those very gusty winds as well. Now, for tomorrow, for the rest of us, a little snow in the morning in Philly and New York, then it should be over with. Again, some of us getting up to 6 to 12, even a foot plus before it's all over. Let's talk about the South and how it's impacting you folks here. Nick?
In the Carolinas in particular, Kim, for some ice, we're already continuing to see that ice, well, stay with you, actually. Rain toward the coastal regions, but it's icy spots in the central areas of both North and South Carolina that will slow you down today. Temperatures are cool there. Raleigh at 25. We're at 29 at Columbia. We're even cool at Atlanta this morning. Much milder in Miami. We've seen a little bit of rainfall there. We could see a little bit more as we get through the afternoon hours. As this area of low pressure continues to move eastward, though, an improving day around North Carolina, where Raleigh is still seeing some freezing rain, freezing drizzle down toward Fayetteville, and even some around South Carolina this morning. So watch out for those icy spots. About 1/10 of an inch of rain still left to fall on the coastal regions.
All kinds of problems out there in the Northeast today, probably impacting folks all across the country.
This is one where you just stay home is the best advice for those in the Northeast. Blizzard conditions are now passing over New York City right now as the warning remains in effect. Blowing snow will continue throughout most of the day, hampering any possibility of travel.
You're watching First Outlook on the Weather Channel.
First Outlook is sponsored by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
In 1935, Foxwood Farm started with one horse and a truck. The horse was a thoroughbred, the truck a Chevy Suburban. Today, they have a few more horses. But there's still only one truck. Chevy Suburban. With an available 8.1-liter Vortec engine, it's capable of towing up to 6 tons, making it the best Suburban yet. Chevy Suburban, like a rock.
Yellow pencils, yellow Post-it notes, yellow boxers, yellow boxers.
$14.
Land Courier, Air Courier, Pedicure, Reader.
$137.
2 printers, 2 scanners, 2 tutus.
$540. Keeping business expenses separate from personal expenses.